Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our webinar today. For those of you that are joining us for the very first time, my name is Christopher Salick, and I'm the Religious Education Marketing Coordinator here at Ave Maria Press, and I'm going to be your moderator for today's webinar. I want to welcome you to the second Religious Education webinar of our series this semester. Before we get started, I just want to take a moment to point out a few aspects of your GoToWebinar tool pane. Everyone in our audience is muted, but you still are able to ask questions. Questions may be sent to our presenter through an instant message. Please take a moment now to find the box for typing questions. Simply click the send button in the bottom right corner to send your questions to our presenter, and we'll get to those at the end of Carmen's presentation. Now that we've gone through all the technical information, I want to extend a very warm welcome to our presenter. Her name is Carmen Ribera Lagalante. Carmen is passionate about the integration of technology in the classroom and teaching the Catholic faith. For the past 9 years, she has been a religion teacher at JSerra Catholic High School, which is located in San Juan Capistrano, California. Her courses include theology of the body, sacraments, morality, and AP computer science. Carmen earned a Master of Arts in Educational Technology from Azusa Pacific University and a Bachelor of Arts from Thomas Aquinas College. Carmen, welcome, and thanks for being with us today.
Hi, welcome. Hello.
I'm going to turn the computer screen over to you here, and you should be all set.
Okay, here we go. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Let me go right here. So, I got to hide this. All right, here we go. So, Web 2 in the religion classroom. So, as Christopher was saying, my name is Carmen, and I've been teaching high school for 9 years. And when I first started teaching high school, I encountered this, it seemed like this wall, like you're teaching, you're writing things on the board, but it didn't seem to go through too much until I started using technology. I am in a one-to-one school where everybody had a laptop. All my students came to class with a laptop, but I had no idea what to do with it. So I went ahead and I got my master's in educational technology, and it has really changed the classroom. So that's what I want to really share with you today. And the first thing I want to tell you is that to follow the presentation, I have made handouts, and you can download them from my website blog, which is called JesusTeacherTed.com. If you take a minute to go there, you can download them, and it has this PowerPoint with the note slides as well as a different handout that I've made for you. So if you go ahead and get that. Now, what is the Web 2.0? Okay, the Web 2.0 is referred to as the read-write Internet. What is that? You know, when the Internet first came out, I'm sure we all remember that. I know I was, the first time I encountered it, I believe it was my senior year in high school at the library. They first put it, and it was like an encyclopedia. You know, you could go and you could type and you could read all kinds of information. But you never wrote anything that was added to the Internet. Okay. That's the Web 2.0. The Web 2.0 is the web that you now have where we can write the content through the various apps, through Facebook, through, you know, whatever, Yahoo, anything that allows you to upload pictures or upload content. It's an ever-growing Internet where the users themselves can add content. Why is this important to us? Why is this great? Because it's interactive. You can interact with other people. It allows for collaboration because many people can join into one website and add content together. It allows for different ways to express creativity because there are music ones, there's picture ones, there's, you know, there's so many different tools out there. And the best part is that most of them are free, or they can be used in a free manner, even if they have premium packages. And so it's really a gift that is being given to education if we know how to use it properly. Now, the question that I get asked a lot, well, why should we do this? You know, it's very nice that it can be done, but why? Well, I see religion teachers in this day and age as missionaries. You know, Pope Francis has recently talked about the culture of encounter. We are encountering a different culture in a classroom every day. Now, what is a missionary called to do? Obviously, primarily to preach the to preach the Word of God, to get people to know Jesus, to people from different cultures with different languages. Very often they're exposed to ridicule, to hardship, we know, to martyrdom, many of them. Hopefully we're not going to get there. But the question, it remains, we are missionaries. So what is the culture that we are preaching to, and what is their language? Okay, the missionaries of old went to all lengths to reach their audience, right? They created alphabets, some of them. They would translate the scriptures. They would learn the language of the people. Sometimes a language that it itself wasn't even fully formed, and they helped form it just so they could preach Christ to them. So what is the language of our students? Well, here's a picture of my 2-year-old nephew with my brother playing on his iPad. And this was a picture of a kid. I was just at the mall, and I asked the mom if I could take a picture because it was such a classic. You know, I had other ones that I got off the internet, but these are real. This is what these kids are already doing. You know, they know how to use the technology. They love it. They use it. They communicate with it. There's a video here that I cannot play through the webinar, but I gave you the link on the handout that also speaks about how the kids are using technology in their own lives and what they want. And so if technology is their language and we are missionaries, then to answer why do we need to do this is because we need to speak their language. We need to be able to translate things into their language and create projects and lessons, whatever it takes to reach to this digital generation for Christ and bring it to Christ. Now, you may say, but they already know how to use it. You just showed us a picture. The 2-year-old knows how to use the iPad better than me. There's a difference between knowing how to use something, between using something and really knowing how to use something. They can use it. There's no doubt about that. They're using it all the time. But are they using it in a manner that is safe? Do they know how to respect each other in this? Do they know what the limits are? I mean, it doesn't matter what the language is, whether it's technology or it's English or some. The kids still need to learn the same things. They need to know limits. They need to know respect, safety, all these things that we are teaching them in other, you know, when it comes to their classroom and English, and we need to also teach them in technology for their own safety and so that their communication is one that is worthy of a child of God. So what is the content of their communication, right? That's what we want to get at. We want to affect that. When they're texting, can we change what they're texting their friends? Can we have that kind of influence on them? Because Christ can do that. We could teach them to blog about dating with purity, to create comics about the moral law, the 10 commandments, you know, to write songs about the sacraments. We can motivate them. We can provide the learning environment and the tools so that they can do this and share these things. You know, I now have this year my Religion 4 honor students, which I had some of them last year. And so they've been with me for a while, and one girl in particular, she sings at Mass, she sings beautifully, but not only, when I see her Facebook, that obviously I'm not connected with her, but she'll show it to me, and it's all about, you know, Christian songs and all these things that she's posting out there for everyone. So it can happen. We can't really influence the content of their communication if we learn to speak their language. What else can we teach them? Okay, so they have the technology, but they don't know that they can use it to chat with experts. You know, there's actually a website where you can just email a priest, okay, anything you want, just like there's a doctor once, right? To keep an electronic notebook of all their things, you know, to go to YouTube to pray, you know, to find the right music videos and inspirational videos, and to evangelize online, to spread Christ once they have it, to spread that to others. We can also teach them to search in Google more accurately and to evaluate the sources of what they get. You know, they can't just believe that everything they find is going to be true. In fact, the assignment that my juniors will be working on this week makes them go on YouTube, makes them find videos on the sacrament of baptism, and then they have to analyze, is this a Catholic video? Is this representing the teachings that we've learned about baptism correctly? So that they can see that not everybody that, says, I know, really knows, which is a critical skill for the world they live in. Now, but it's not good enough that we just learn their language, like, as a bilingual speakers. When you're fluent in the language, you can do more than translate. You can actually create, right? You can, that's what is a fluent person. I remember, when I knew I had mastered English is when I started dreaming in English, praying in English, thinking in English, right? When you can think in that language, that's when you know you've mastered it. And so we can't just simply take an assignment. Well, I used to have them write an essay, and I'm going to have them write the essay on Microsoft Word, and hey, now it's technology, or, I used to make them, do a poster board, with cardboard. Now I'm just going to have them do it on on some website. It has to be more than that. We have to make assignments where the technology is integrated. It's essential to the project. Without the technology, we could have never had students do this. That's the kind of assignment you want to aim for, because that's what's really going to motivate them and touch them. And sometimes this may require, like it did in the old times, that we add new words, that we expand the language of technology. Okay, there's a lot of teachers that are creating software. Okay, that's one of the things I teach is AP Computer Science, which is programming, because I think that also that's another aspect that as Christians, we need to take a hold of is it's also creating our programs. But for most of us, we're not going to go that far. Hopefully, we don't have to go there. There's a lot out there already written that can be used. And that's what I kind of want to show you here, okay? One of my favorite tools, and probably the easiest one to start with if you've never done any technology projects, would be Globster. And I'm going to take you to it and actually have it already open. So I'm making sure that this is good. Okay. This is one that I had a student make, I think it was a couple of years ago, on purity, because I do theology of the body, okay? You can see what they can do. It's pretty, it's pretty cool, and it's pretty easy. And this is something they couldn't have done on a poster board, because here they can add videos and sound, okay, that you couldn't do otherwise. Okay, well, it might take a while to load. But you can hopefully see some of the other ones we did with the natural family planning. They did one on prayer. We did one for Lent, and they did one on their own moral code of life. But this is a great website to start with. And you don't have to go to the premium one. Even if you go free, you can still give your students a code that you share with them. Educator free, you can see there's a code. You give your students that code, and they'll show up right here on your messages. And all you have to do is you click on each and any student, and it will show their work. And it's totally free. Okay, so Globster is one to start with. Pixton is another great one. The kids love Pixton because it allows them to make comics. And this one is one that you can do for free, although it's also fun. I mean, if you can get your school to pay, it's worth it because of all the added benefits that they have. But this one, basically, they just make a comic, and it has, I don't know if I can, I have some samples of this on the blog. In fact, I think, yeah, here's one that they did years ago. It's a redemption story. And this is made by a student, and as you can browse through it, but you can see it keeps going, and it's a great way to get them to write and to think and to use their visual, the more creative kids. Almost all of them love this. Okay, now Google Docs, and it's now Google Drive. That's just easy. I use that for note-taking. Sometimes I have it open, and I just have one student taking notes, so everybody else is actually paying attention and not worrying, and then they can all see the notes, or maybe 3 or 4 can contribute to the notes. It's great for when you want to work on a PowerPoint together. They can use Google Slides, and they can all go on the cloud and be working on the same exact PowerPoint. YouTube is, it's a little harder, but it's also really easy to use and to get the kids. The kids know how to use YouTube, so basically, once they have the videos, if you have them make videos, then you can upload them to YouTube. Or you can create. What I did was create a classroom account, and there it takes you. Oops, sorry, I went back too far. And you can then have them upload the videos there, so you don't run into the problem of having them create a YouTube account, because some parents don't want that. And then Blogger, which is also a free tool, is what I was using right here. You can see this was a classroom blog, but I have each student have their own blog where they can post things. And it's also totally free. And then I just have like an RSS feed where I have other blogs. Or actually, sometimes I just use a Google Doc myself. So I wanted to show you. Where is Google blog? So anyways, it's right. I think I don't have them right now, but this all came out of their own blogs. I just took it from their blogs, but it's totally free. So these are some websites that are easy to start with, and if you go on my website, you can get the lesson plans of everything that I've done with them, with these websites, to help you get started. And they're all free, and all you need is for them to have their laptop or a tablet, or sometimes when they forget their laptops, most of these websites will work on their phones. So if you go to my blog, which hopefully you already went there to get the handouts, you can see some of the other projects and some of the other tools that I use. Now, it's not a blog like I contribute every day or every week. I only post things when I have something to share, a new tool or a new lesson that went really well. But if you scroll down, you'll see here's another picture. That's when I started talking in Lewis' class. This was a great website too. Vuvox. It's a little harder for them to use, but it's kind of like a sliding show. It's kind of easy to control. Infographics, I just had them do this again. It's easily, all these are here for you. I don't want to take up too much time going through those, because I want to make sure I have time for questions. But I did want to show you, I'll come back to that. Other resources, if you're trying to get started, these are great links. I'm not going to go out there right now, but they all teach you about the Web 2.0 tools. This one's great, one tool at a time, because it's just that. So you don't want to be just too shy. You see too many, it's like one at a time. My favorite is Web 2.0 tools for schools, because it's so well organized. You can see collaborative research, video, slideshow, audio, and they've kind of tested them, and most of the links are up to date. Sometimes I have a couple of dead links, but they're all kid-friendly for the most part. And if you see, they even give you an explanation. They tell you if it's free or not. It's probably the one I use the most. Now, part of language training, we need help. Okay, you can read the blogs, you can subscribe to things, but really you kind of have to have your own personal learning network of people or sources that can answer your question and give you ideas. And that's how I did it. Now, blog-wise, you can subscribe to different blogs, but the best one to, by far, hands down, the one that helps me the most is, believe it or not, is Twitter. Now, when I say Twitter, I get this laugh or scoff from pictures like, well, I don't want to read about people's breakfast, and I don't want to know what they did for lunch. Twitter can be customized in many ways. And I have a blog that I made myself that shows you how to get started on Twitter if you've never used it. But let me show you what Twitter can look like. Here, I use TweetDeck. And you can see Catholic EdChat, for example. If you do this hash mark, this hashtag here, and then you do Catholic EdChat, you'll communicate with only other Catholic educators that are using, technology in the room. Or, I follow my bishop. I like to follow the Pope, which is great. He puts a little tweet every day. So it's just nice meditation. Okay. Anyways, this is great for resources. You can see people share stuff they find. You click on it. I found so many great resources that way. And if I have a question, I can post and I can say, okay, has anybody found a tool that can do this? And after my question, I put # Catholic EdChat. It's going to go to all these people. And not only will you get a resource back, but you'll get you'll get a person who's used it. And if I Google it, I might find a resource, but I'm on my own. If I tweet about it, I'll get back from someone who's actually used that tool and can tell me how to put it into action. So Twitter is a great way to go into language training, okay, like I call it, to learn more. And here's also, I gave you this link for the video that also teaches you about why Twitter is such a great thing for teachers to use. Now, blogs, of course, or websites, these are some of the ones I subscribe to that are great to teach you, to give you resources. And most of these, actually, none of these are like religion-based. They're just technology. But once you learn about the tool, you can then, write with it, right? Create your assignments with it. But they always are kept up to date, and they share really good content. And they kind of, they deal with problems and all that kind of stuff that you may encounter. So now I want to go back to, hold on, I got too many things going on. I wanted to show you the YouTube because I didn't really connect with it, but I actually have the channel right here. Here we go. So you can see it's actually one of the tools also I use a lot. Once you have the kids, oh, forgot to mute it. I can't show you the actual videos, but if you go and you scroll through there, you can see now some of them are not the best. This is everything, okay? You can then edit content. But this is all done by my students. And you can see some of them were the rights of the Catholic Church. But here's the culture tag one. That was quite a shocking one that we did with my seniors for theology of the body. And so on. So that's a great way to get YouTube. And I know you can't go YouTube blocked in the room, but you can have them uploaded at home and then you show it on your own computer. And again, all this is accessible through the website.
Hey, Carmen, can I pass along a question that we have?
Sure.
Since it deals about YouTube, some schools have YouTube blocked, or they have some type of filter in their school. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that's not something that you experience in your school since you're using YouTube a lot. What ideas do you have for teachers that run into that situation?
Well, no, YouTube is also blocked at my school. YouTube is also blocked at my school, but what I do, if I need them to go on YouTube in class, I call IT and I have them unblock it for an hour or for the day. That's actually what I'm going to have them do tomorrow. My IT, it's really nice, and they're more than willing to do that for me. The other way is, again, you use many times, like if I need them to upload to YouTube, I have them do that as part of their homework. So they can film in school, and they can put it together in the laptops using, iMovie, or if they're a Mac, or, the Windows Media one, and they can make the video in the classroom and then go home, upload it to your classroom YouTube account, and then I show it through my computer. Because mine, I don't know about the other schools, but mine's not blocked. The students is blocked, but not the teachers.
Great, thank you.
Now, another way you can also get around that, but you might get in trouble if you've been on your school. Sometimes I have them go on their phones because that's what they do anyways, and there's nothing blocked on their phones. So if I really need them to go on YouTube or something, I'll just say, take out your phone and go on YouTube and go to this or that. Any other questions?
Someone here was mentioning that he uses websites like Vimeo.
Yes.
He just says they're less likely to be blocked because they're not used as often.
Yes. Yes, there's Vimeo, and there's actually a bunch of, there's also the YouTube for Schools one that just came out, which is supposed to be a filter version of YouTube. There's a lot of them, you know. I just like YouTube because it's easy. The kids already kind of know how to use it, so I don't encounter as many problems. You know, I'm on my blog here, and I wanted to make sure I told you about Socrative because I didn't list that. But Socrative is another one of my favorite tools, and it's really, really easy to use. And basically the way it works, you can ask a question out loud and then have every single person in your room submit an answer through Socrative. And, you know, this is like a screenshot of what it would look like on my tablet. But then you can send this out to vote so that then every student reads what all the other students have written, and then they can vote on which one they think is the best answer. Now, when I did this last year, the only way I could grade it is by making them put their name and having to take a screenshot. But now they actually will, you know, I actually installed that to Socrative, and over the summer they did some updates. And now that you can have them to write their names, and it emails you at the end of the session what every student contributed. So it's great if you want to grade it. And it has all the accounts. I also do. You can type questions ahead of time. You can use it for quizzes. It has games, but it's and it works on all the laptops, on the phones, on the tablets. They have an app for every device. So that's another great tool to get started with. Now, one of the mistakes that that I encountered when I first let them use their phones is that, you know, obviously once they have their phones out, they could be doing anything they want unless you keep an eye on it, right? So what I do to make them stay on task is do a time limit. So they only have so long to answer in there. So then if they go on something else on the phone, they won't get the credit because they won't get it in on time. So that's one way to keep them from going to other things when you have them use their phones. Now, I know my school has a no phone rule, you know, like where they can't use the phones in the building and all that, but I clear it with my vice principal that's okay for them to use it in my room if it's under my supervision, you know, with me telling them to. So here you can see where it says vote on responses. And if I take it to the site, I don't use it for quizzes, but you can see everything you can do. You can make a quiz. You can do the space race, which is like a game, the exit ticket. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with it. Where did I go back to my, I have too many things open. Oh, I have to go back. Okay, another thing is when you use any of the other web, you know, how to turn it in, right? Because you kind of have to have some kind of electronic submission system for them to send you a Glogster or, you know, or a comic or something like that. So Google Docs can be great for that, or I use Evernote. And that's the other thing I want to show you. I have all my students get on Evernote, and that's why I run a paperless classroom. And that way, you know, their homework is available to them no matter where they are, because Evernote is cloud-based. And you can see here, they turn in all their assignments here. They can put here's the infographic that they just did. If you have them do, you know, something with Word, they can attach it here. And they can put the URL of whatever video, whatever you have them to find. But all my students are here, so it's actually great for grading as well. So Evernote, so it's free. I mean, I paid for the premium, and that's just because I also use it for myself on my phone and things like that, and I wanted more storage. But the students have the free account, and it's a great way to do it. I think I told you already, Pixton. Anyway, there's tons of tools that you can use you have more questions?
Yeah, we have some coming in. Somebody wants to know, this is coming from Father Brian. He wants to know what are some interesting assignments you have assigned students, and what is the most imaginative submission you've received?
Wow. All the assignments, so if you come here on my blog, I tell you the assignments for the most part. If there's a lesson plan, it's attached most of the time, if there was one, or just a link, or I describe it here. The most creative, I have to say the one I was the most surprised with was I had them write a song about a lesson I did on the sacraments. I had talked about how Jesus was a sacrament for God the Father, and how the church was a sacrament for Jesus. Just trying to get those 2 points across. This was like lesson 101, on sacraments course. And I said, okay, to make sure they learn, I said, create a song with that teaches these 2 concepts today. And I said, just you can go with like, Jesus, Mary had a little lamb, or happy birthday, or something like that. Never did I expect to receive what I did receive, and I wish I could play it for you, but there's no way to do audio here that I know. But they did that song that was on the radio all the time about "You Don't Know You're Beautiful" by One Direction. One group took that song, and with playing with those lyrics and that tune, they created and they recorded this song on the sacraments. And another group, also surprised me, created this really nice rap. So, I expected Mary had a little lamb, and I get all these things back, Also, probably along those lines was when I have them do the videos on the Eucharist. So if you were to go to my channel, I think I have playlist. And here we are. Oh no, this is mine. This is not the classroom one. Oops. Let me see if I can log into my classroom one. I have to log out of mine. Actually, I just have to switch here. And I can show you, it was a Eucharist video, and they had to, what I did is I took the teachings, different parts of the teachings of the Eucharist, and I had divided it into groups, and I said, okay, you got to teach the Sermon on the Mount, you have to teach, the Last Supper, you got to teach the real presence, and so on and so on. And then I had watch all the videos for everyone. So here, it should be in my playlist. It was also rap. Okay, sure. You can tell school year just started. Here we go, Eucharist Project. And it takes me to this one. You see how we prepare for Mass, okay, all these ones. One of these was sing out, kind of like those contests that they have, one singer against another. And there was 2 rappers, and they were both rapping about Jesus, or about the Eucharist. But one was saying all the wrong things, and his name was something Sin. And then the other one was like Savior something, and he was singing all the right teachings of the Eucharist. I mean, it was just, I wish I knew exactly which one it was. But that was probably one of the most creative entries that I've received out of all these videos. Marco?
Sure. Another question we got, Carmen, says, as educators, we often assume that all of our students are well-versed in the use of technology. Mm-hmm. How do you help students who actually are not familiar with technology?
Okay. Yes, that's a very good question, because I did encounter that with some of them. Now, most of this is group projects, because I believe in collaboration. So one of the things I tell them when they're going to get in a group is, if you don't know how to make a video, if you don't know how to put it together, make sure you find somebody in the class who does. And sometimes I even have those people raise their hand and say, look, these guys all know how to use iMovie, or they all know how to use whatever. And make sure that at least one of them is in the group, so you have at least one kid in the group that's going to know how to do the upload part. The filming part, they all know how to do that. I let them use their phones or their laptops to film. They don't need cameras. They don't need any fancy equipment. So that's how you get around it. Now, some of them, I mean, I did have a student, I mean, she didn't even know what a tab was, you know, on her browser. And I just helped her. Sometimes I would make sure that if I needed to show an example or had to do something, I would take her laptop to do it. So in a sense, you know, I would help her along. And again, you just have to make sure you know how to use it, answer the questions. But for the most part, like when I assigned Pixton, I used to sit there and like, here's how to use Pixton. Most of them have never seen it before. But within minutes, they know how to use it better than I did. I never knew how to change a background on the thing. And the kid figured that out. They're just good at it. And there's also help videos. I tell them, look at the help video. I tell them that's part of teaching them, you know, with anything, look for the help video. Look for the help column, you know, and type your question in there. And sure enough, the answer is solved. The problem is solved.
Okay, Carmen, can you talk a little bit about using electronic textbooks and maybe the challenges or different ways that you've incorporated? You talked a lot about different apps and things, but how are you using the actual book itself?
Yeah. Okay. I don't have the privilege of having my students with electronic textbooks. I've been wanting to. I've been begging the department. It hasn't happened yet. They keep telling me it's going to happen. My computer science class had an electronic textbook. And I mean, it's wonderful because you don't have to deal with them forgetting it. You can cut and paste, you know, parts of it like that you want to discuss in the class. You can take content of it and put it on your smart board or, you know, whatever you're going to share with them. And some of the problem with the electronic textbook that we had sometimes is what if the internet, you know, and if the connection goes down, if there's no internet now, all of a sudden no one can access their book. And it's one that they've downloaded the whole book like into a Kindle or something like that, which would be ideal. But there are definitely schools that are already doing it, and there's some of the other departments that are using them. And it's great. Now, what I did find though, sometimes the kids, even if you have an electronic textbook, they'll still want to buy the paperback at home just because sometimes it's easier to read it, you know, when you're tired or something like that. But it's definitely wonderful to have it accessible to you anytime, you know, so I'm not sure we can get rid of the paper completely, but definitely, I mean, it's their choice. We left it at their choice when in the science class. And some chose to have both, some chose just to have the ebook. And the nice thing with ebooks too, they already have good technology projects, you know, links and you know, help videos and all kinds of things already embedded. So it makes the lesson planning a lot easier. That's for sure.
Okay, thanks. We've made it through all of our questions. If there's anyone else that has a question that they want, please go ahead and send that in. We'll take a few more minutes here to wait for you to submit those for Carmen to answer. Is there anything else you want to add, Carmen, while we're kind of waiting on those to come in?
Sorry, yeah, I kind of went too fast.
No, you're great.
Okay. I just wanted to also go back to the Twitter, to the Catholic Ed Chat. I know I'm promoting now. They actually meet every Saturday morning. They have a tweet up, whatever, like not meet in a building, but they all go online and they actually have a discussion where they have a topic, the moderators will have a topic and everybody can, and that's also a lot of fun. Now, unfortunately for me, I'm on the Pacific Coast and they do it at 8 a.m. Eastern time on a Saturday, which makes it 6 a.m. for me, and I'm not an early riser on a Saturday. But luckily for me, they also have this on the archives, so I can go on their archives and you can see the whole discussion and what the topics were, and it's really well organized. So if you are not familiar with Catholic Ed Chat, I can't recommend it enough to do so.
Great. We got a couple more questions that just came in.
Okay.
The first one was, and I'm not sure if this is a situation you have at your school or not. It was asking about limitations or with the broadband connection or slow computers. Mm-hmm. How do you keep your students on task if that is a problem?
Yes, that is a problem sometimes. Not all the time, but it happens. It's happened. That's one of the things with Gloucester, okay? As much as I love Gloucester, when it tends to use up a lot of broadband because it's flash-based, so it does slow down the machines. That's one of the problems I've had with that one. So I was going to, there are other websites that I've been using that kind of, but they're a little more complicated, so that's why I didn't go through them. You know, so you try to find tools that are not flash-based, they will tend to download and run a lot smoother and faster. Or if it's an app, then the apps tend to go much faster than anything on the browser, you know, if you have them on tablets. Or, again, the phone has saved us many times. I just tell them, okay, do that part in the phone or the research, and then, you know, just write a summary or do whatever. So those are some of the ways I get around it. I never had it where it was never like completely stopped, you know, somehow. Either I found an alternate tool or that or their phones.
Great. Ryan wants to know if students are required to present their work in front of the classroom.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I have them do that. Now, with the videos, for example, in the Eucharist, I mean, we show their video, and then the group that made the video has to get up and answer people's questions, and also answer my questions, which I will quiz them on the content that I expected to see on the video. It's the same thing when I do the Ten Commandment ones that you can see. They had a whole set on the Ten Commandments that I have them do. So in that sense, like quasi-presenting. Now, on the Theology of the Body class, when we do the marriage raft, that they do have to get up and actually present. So with the song, the Eucharist song, they had the option of the group to actually get up and sing in front of the class, or to give me a recording that I would play in front of the class. So I try to have options. I try not to force any kid to actually speak, you know, in front of the class if they absolutely have the fear of it or whatever. So making able to record it or tape it beforehand makes it a lot more comfortable for some of them.
Great. Christine wants to know how you download YouTube clips ahead of time, so that way you don't have to download them in the middle of class.
Oh yes, great idea. That's one way you could run around the broadband program. I have, if you go to my personal one, there is actually it's on my Firefox. So there's an extension that you can add. That is the easiest way to download any video from YouTube. If you give it a minute. I don't think I have it on Chrome. But it's free make video. It's also on it's also program. I have it here. Free make video. Here we go. Video converter. It's a free program you can download, and it has an extension also for the browser. And I'll show you in a second how it works. I have too many things open for this school. Here we go. But you see here, you see it has on my browser. So if I go on a video, and let me go on YouTube here. I have no idea. I was just going to pick some random. If I can get my computer to scroll down. Here we go. I have no idea what this ginger cat is, but just to show you, whatever's playing, you press V, and it will download it. Okay, or you go on the program, you copy the URL, and you see here from YouTube, file video, paste URL, and you paste it there, and it would also download it that way. And it's called Free Make Video Converter. It also converts videos from any format to another format. So it's a great little free tool that I highly recommend.
Great, thanks. Terry wants to know if you have any suggestions for...
Well, something's playing music for me. 1 second. Oh, this cat video started playing. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Terry wants to know if you have any suggestions for faith formation catechists that don't have access to technology, that there's not Wi-Fi in their classroom, but they have an iPhone or an iPad. What ways would you suggest using technology in that situation?
Okay, in that situation, what I really would hope is that you can get at least a projector, which if you're parish doesn't have a projector, you can, I mean, there's pocket projectors you can get on Amazon for a couple $100. And then you can still bring in the, like YouTube and some of the video. It'd be hard to have them create things if they themselves don't have even a phone or, or anything that they can create with. But as long as you have it, you can bring it through a projector screen, or even if you say you have an iPad, you can, make a video with, have them like on paper, for example, like plan your video, and then take turns, with my one iPad, to film it. So there's ways that you can do that. Obviously, it's a handicap, but if you have a projector, or if you have or if they were to have phones, those are ways to get around it and to still speak their language. Anytime you can present an information, and at least, even if it's a PowerPoint, you saw I had this little dude like flashing, anything that can flash, anything that moves on your screen is going to already help captivate this digital generation's attention better. Obviously it's best if they're ones creating hands-on, but even when you are presenting anything, if you present it in a way that, like you make a video, I've made videos, present stuff to them, that always helps them.
Okay, thanks. Lawrence wants to know if you are familiar with any grants or programs for theology teachers to get training in the use of technology. He says their local school district provides funding for Catholic high schools for every other department to attend a workshop, but not for theology teachers, even if the workshop is not religion-based.
Yeah. Yeah.
So any ideas?
Yeah. I got my school to pay for me to go to CUE, the Computer User Educator Conference a couple of years ago, because we are such a, or things that we're a high-tech school, and I have my master's in that, so they know. But really, I don't know of any. I looked at most of the grants, most of the stuff, theology teachers just don't qualify. So that's why I try to give you all these free resources that you can educate yourself. You really can do it on your own. If you start reading the blogs and you start, try to follow, one little lesson at a time, you can do it. But if your department doesn't have them, if your school doesn't pay for it, then I don't know anybody who will, unfortunately.
Sure. What was the name of that conference again, Carmen?
It was CUE, C-U-E. It's Computers Using Educators. It's one of the things I belong to. I give talks for them too, and it's great. It's a great organization, and they give grants. If you're a member, they have grants where you could get like $500 just for like classroom stuff, and they don't discriminate about what subject. You just have to be a member and present the lesson you want to do and stuff like that. And it's like $50 to join for the whole year, I believe. And the conference, they have one here in California. I don't know, I'm sure, I don't know if they're national or not. But and then obviously there's also ISTE, and then NCEA. Those are all great conferences to learn.
Great. Our last question that we have here is from Aisling, and she wants to know if Ave Maria Press has a Twitter page or any other interactive site where teachers can use or exchange ideas that they're using for textbooks. And I can tell you, Aisling, that right now we do have a Twitter page. It's just Ave Maria Press. But it's not something that we're using interactively, kind of in the same way that that Carmen was showing us. But it's one of the little things I made a note of that we may look into changing. So yes, we have a Twitter page, but not using it in the same way as far as sharing ideas at this point. So, Carmen, are you aware of any other Twitter pages? I know you mentioned the Catholic Ed one.
There's also the regular just Ed Chat. There's just Ed Chat, like this Catholic Ed Chat, there's Ed Chat. There's also the Ed Tech. There's all these hashtags, and in fact, if you go to the blog, hold on, let me find my PowerPoint again. Here, if you go here, I show you, here we go. Actually, I think I put it on my think it's right here on the second page. Yes, it did. Twitter for Teachers. And here I actually have a bunch of tags and groups that you can join and get started with Twitter. So there's actually quite a few ones. There's like 4th grade ones. There's like 3rd grade ones. These are all a bunch of different hashtags. Those are all different groups. You know, Web 2.0 chat. I mean, there's so many of them. And here, if you go here, these are all teachers on Twitter. 9 ways to find teachers on Twitter that also can connect you with other people. So yeah, there's ways to do it yourself.
Great. Ruthie has a question on Evernote. You mentioned before that you use a premium account, but your students use a free account.
Yes.
And she wants to know how students can turn in their work without a premium account. And does it only work if the teacher has a premium account?
Okay. So no, you don't need premium at all. I just go premium this year because of my phone, because I wanted to do something on the phone. But it does not require a premium account. The way they do is, so as you can see, they create a notebook on their Evernote. And then any notebook, let's see, this is mine. If you go to Share Notebook, and this is, you can do this with a free account. So they would have to invite an individual, and what I have them is, invite me to their notebook. Okay, so that's how I get them down here. I would get on my email, I get I'll show you. I get an invitation, right? So-and-so has asked you to join their notebook. Now the only difference, I mean the only drawback if they don't have premium is that, like, I can see their work, I can't edit it in any way. So I can go here and read what they did, but because they don't have premium, I can't actually like write my comments on it. I would have to do that. I email them usually with my comments, or I put it on the gradebook. So that's the only drawback of them not having premium.
What are the benefits of Evernote over Google Docs?
Okay, one of the benefits is that it's more mobile friendly than Google is in the, with the iPhones and all that. The app is just really easy to use. And as you can, it's just easier to organize that way. I mean, I use Google Docs as well, and with Google Docs, they have to have a Google account. They need a Gmail account of some sort. Even if it's not Gmail, they have to have a Google account. With this, they don't need any special accounts. Their own school account works. So those are a couple of the benefits.
Okay, one other question here came in from Peggy. She wants to know where she can find the URL links for some of the titles or the texts that you had on your PowerPoint presentation. And you mentioned you had the handouts on your blog, so she can go there. But I don't necessarily see any of the links spelt out.
If you click, I made the PDF from the thing, so it should, when you click on it on the PDF, it should take you to the website. It should be interactive.
It doesn't seem to be when I'm trying it.
Okay, I will fix that. I thought I made it that way.
Maybe I'm not doing it properly.
Well, let me see. I have the handout. Let me see. But if not, I will go ahead and spell those out for, just give me a day and I will do that.
Okay, great.
Because I don't know what it is right now, but the handout.
Sure.
But I know I made it. My intent was to make it so that it would work that way. Here's Web 2, Web 2, Web 2. And the second one, the Jesus Tech collection also has the links, I believe, built in. I know that one does for sure.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Yeah, Katrina just said she was having the same issue with the link, so we'll get those fixed. So, hey, Carmen, do you want to share? I know you put on some of your contact information. Do you want to go ahead and share that with everyone so they know how to connect with you?
Yes. Oops. slide. So you can connect with me on Twitter. That's my Twitter handle. Okay, you can connect with me also through my blog. Any comment you enter there, okay, goes straight to, I would get an email. Or you can connect with me in Delicious. If you're familiar with Delicious, that's why I share almost all the tools that I find. That's what all my bookmarks are. And I make them social, they're public. So anytime I find a really good tool, I will be putting it there. And then, of course, you can always email me at jesusteachertech@gmail.com. So any way you would like to connect with me, I'm happy to answer questions at any time or share lessons or give you the links. Like if I had a way to send you all the links, I would, but what I can do is I'll go on my blog and I'll make a new handout that has just all the links that are missing.
Great, thanks, Carmen. If you just want to let me know too when that's ready, we'll send out an email to everybody after the webinar. Like tomorrow, we'll send out an email that'll have a recording of the webinar, and I can include a link to the blog and those handouts as well.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and take back the screen here.
All right.
Here's some ways that you may want to connect with us here at Ave Maria Press. We talk just real quickly about e-textbooks. There's a link there to our website. If you have questions about our e-textbooks, we offer them in about 6 or 7 different formats currently, or through many different distributors. So you can take a look at that. If you want to review a book, there's a link there with a form that you just need to fill out. Or if you're interested in having us come and visit your diocese, just email us there at reled, R-E-L-E-D, @nd.edu, and we'll be happy to try to set up some type of meeting with your diocese, either in person or through some type of format like this as well. Here's where Ave Maria Press, where you can find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Vimeo, Scribd. We have an app, so you can connect with us in all kinds of different formats there, and we'll be happy to share some ideas with you as well. Lastly here, I want to mention to you the next webinar in our series. It's the Spirituality of High School Administration, Turning Mundane Tasks into Redeeming Work. And this will be presented by Ann Garrido. She's the author of a new book with us called Redeeming Administration. She has a lot of experience in education, higher ed, work in parishes. I've been actually reading the book myself some, and it's a great read. So you'll want to join us. It's Wednesday, October 16th at 3:30 Eastern. And this is a perfect webinar for department chairs and even like principals, presidents of your school. So pass that information along to them as well. So with that information, we're going to conclude today's webinar. So on behalf of Carmen and the entire religious education team here at Ave Maria Press, I want to thank you for joining us today. Have a great afternoon or evening, depending on which coast you're on, and I look forward to connecting with you again in a few weeks. Have a great night.